rest is a process. It's part of how you become someone who can handle the next thing without falling apart. And if I want to feel grounded and connected and steady again, it's not going to come from powering through. It comes from remembering that I'm not a machine, that my worth isn't measured by how quickly I recover, and that I can honor the slow return instead of forcing a performance of wellness. Welcome to the Choose Better Thoughts podcast. I'm Amanda Doyle, certified life and leadership coach, here to help high-achieving women use practical mindset tools to live your complex life with more ease. Each week, you'll learn how to lead with more confidence at work, stay regulated and present in parenting, and actually enjoy the life that you've worked so hard to build. So pop in your earbuds and let's do some coaching. So I want to share a feeling that I experienced on Saturday. My parents had just left that morning after visiting for about 10 days. And literally, as I was closing the door behind them, a couple of moms and their kids walked in for a play date that I had planned. So it was back to back, go, go, go transitions. The play date was great. It was loud and full and messy and sweet, and nothing dramatic happened. But the moment they left and I sat down on the couch, I could feel this shift in my body. It was like the adrenaline had just dropped out from under me. I did not feel like doing anything, not even scrolling, but I wasn't tired exactly. It was this strange in between where I was thinking, should I be doing something, anything? Should I take a nap? Shouldn't I at least be grateful for this quiet rest? But instead, I just sat there feeling like off. It was a little uncomfortable. So I texted two of my girlfriends who are emotionally fluent unicorns, and both of them replied almost instantly, like, "Oh yeah, this feeling, it's called the letdown effect." Because I texted them. I was like, what is the name for this weird mix of feelings? And one of them shared that this is exactly how she felt right after her wedding. And honestly, it was just such a relief to have a name for it. Just this moment of, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. There's a pattern here and it has a name and everyone experiences it. So, this is what we're going to get into today. So, as we start, I'm wondering, when was the last time your body suddenly crashed after holding it together for a long stretch? And did you notice this feeling? What did you tell yourself about that moment? So, let's talk about what I learned about what was actually going on in that moment. Me on the couch, staring into space, not wanting to move, but also feeling weirdly uncomfortable in my own skin, like I couldn't even rest. This wasn't burnout, it wasn't depression, it wasn't even exhaustion in the usual sense. This was my nervous system coming down from a long stretch of go mode. The letdown effect is what happens when your stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol finally ease up and your body shifts into recovery mode. And ironically, that is when the crash feeling hits. Your immune system and your emotional regulation both slow down after being on for too long. And it actually doesn't feel like relief. It feels like irritability, fog, fatigue, and even sadness. I have heard it described like this: your brain says rest, but your body hasn't remembered how to feel safe in rest yet. And when I read that, that totally landed for me. And here's where it gets even more interesting. I realized for myself, this wasn't just about the playdate. This was layered on top of a much bigger wave I've been riding because I've been noticing this same crash in a deeper way over the last couple of months. After our cross country move, after setting up life in a rental, after another move into our forever home, 6 straight months of logistics, decisions, managing details, holding space for my kids and their transitions, I had basically been functioning like a really efficient robot with a little clipboard and a smile. And now that we are finally landing, my body is like, wait, we're allowed to rest now? And the answer is yes, but also rest feels so strange, so foreign, like I forgot how to let myself down gently. This is why creating awareness matters, not so we can fix it, just so we can stop pathologizing it. You're not broken, you're recalibrating. So, where in your life have you been operating on adrenaline for so long that the idea of slowing down feels unfamiliar and maybe even a little unsafe? So here's the thing, awareness is helpful, but it's not always enough. Once I knew I was in the letdown effect, I felt a little better. I felt really seen, but I still didn't want to feel it. My first instinct was to get up and do something, reload the dishwasher, answer an email, order the birthday party supplies for my daughter's upcoming party. At least then I would feel productive, right? But here's the thing, stillness is uncomfortable when you're used to managing everything. That's super normal. It's uncomfortable after you've packed lunches and made it to drop off and crushed a few meetings, remembered to Venmo for the field trip, helped with the math homework, and held space for your kid's 7:30 p.m. existential crisis about bees or death or why rules are so unfair. When you have that white space, your body crashes and your brain says you should be doing more. And the danger is we believe it. We override the crash and scroll and clean and reorganize the spice drawer. And this feels productive, but it's not actual rest. It's like self abandonment, only it feels like hustle. And this is the crossroads that I'm learning about. Do I stay in motion because it's familiar? Do I sit with the weird, squirmy stillness of coming down? Let me put it this way. If your child came home from school, threw their backpack down, and flopped on the couch in silence, what would you do? You probably wouldn't say, "Ugh, why aren't you doing something?" You'd probably say, "Wow, hun, it looks like you had a big day. Do you want to sit with me for a minute?" You might hand them a snack or offer your lap or just let them be quiet. That instinct you have to offer gentleness to your child, that is the same gentleness your nervous system is asking for right now. Sometimes allowing your experience might look like this: sitting on the couch after work without folding laundry, or saying no to last minute school asks because your system is maxed out, or even crying in the car before pickup and letting that count as healing. This is actual emotional adulthood. It's letting your body land even when your brain still wants to keep flying. So, what would change if you treated your own come down with the same softness you'd give your child after a hard day? And how might that feel? So let's now get curious about what's actually driving the discomfort of the letdown effect, not just physically, but mentally. For me, the thought that keeps surfacing in these quiet moments sounds something like, I should be enjoying this. The house is finally quiet, everything's unpacked, the kids are occupied. And instead of peace, I feel off, foggy, irritable, maybe even sad. And my brain is interpreting this as a problem. It sounds like, if I'm not feeling grateful now, maybe I never will. Let's pause there. That is a heavy little subconscious belief, right? And if I were to run this through the self coaching model, it might look like this. The actual thing that's happening, the circumstance, is that everyone has left and I am sitting alone on the couch. Now, what I am making that mean, my thought is that I should be enjoying this. And when I am in the space of believing that thought, of believing I should be enjoying this, I feel disappointed and tense in my body. And then what action does that feeling fuel for me? I spiral a little, I ruminate, or maybe I numb out or scroll or critique myself for feeling off in my head. And the result I create for myself is that I don't enjoy this moment. I reinforce this story that I am doing something wrong. The pressure to feel a certain way is often what blocks us from actually feeling anything honestly. Sometimes it helps to use one of my mentor Byron Katie's questions here. So then I can look at that thought and I can ask, is it true? Do I absolutely know that I should be enjoying this moment? Because what happens when I believe that thought? I notice that I disconnect, I judge myself, I override my actual needs. Who would I get to be without this thought? Who would I get to be if I didn't have to believe that I should be enjoying this? I would simply be someone sitting in a quiet house, letting my body recalibrate. There would be no pressure and there would be a lot of permission. One of the sneaky truths in high functioning motherhood is that we often perform peace instead of actually feeling it. We light the candle, we make the tea, but we still have this hum of guilt as if real rest needs to be earned or somehow optimized. But what if nothing ever needs to be different? What if the fog is not a flaw, but it is a signal from your body? What if we're not behind? We're just in the natural down part of a cycle that was always going to come. There was nothing we could ever do to prevent it. So, can you notice what thought creeps in for you when you are finally still? What story is that telling you about how you should be feeling? And so here's what I'm noticing lately. When I let go of I should be enjoying this, when I question it thoughtfully, when I get curious about it, when I ask if it's really true and who I would get to be without that thought, and then I replace it with something softer, something more honest, I end up actually breathing a little deeper, not trying to breathe a little deeper, but I breathe a little looser. I've been playing with thoughts like, this doesn't have to feel good to be good for me. And I am allowed to feel foggy after what was a season of survival. Nothing is wrong. My system is settling. It takes the time it takes. When I'm in these thoughts, I'm not reaching for joy because that feels really far away right now. But I get relief, permission, a tiny bit of neutrality, and these feel very attainable. This is the difference between pushing yourself to bounce back versus supporting yourself to reintegrate and come back to yourself. Because rest isn't just something we get after the hard season, it's the actual repair process. Rest is a process. It's part of how you become someone who can handle the next thing without falling apart. And if I want to feel grounded and connected and steady again, it's not going to come from powering through. It comes from remembering that I'm not a machine, that my worth isn't measured by how quickly I recover, and that I can honor the slow return instead of forcing a performance of wellness. For me, this feels like alignment. This is inner congruence. The what I believe and what I practice are starting to match sense. And when I think this is the part where I land, something in me softens. My body says, finally. So back to you now. What is one believable, compassionate thought you could try on the next time your body is signaling to you to rest, but your brain is resisting? And if you're feeling that post adrenaline fog right now, whether it's after a move like me, or maybe a work project, a trip, or just a regular Tuesday full of people needing things from you, I want to offer one simple action. Do one thing slowly, just one. Pour tea and actually feel the warmth of the mug. Lay down for 5 minutes and do nothing heroic with your breath. Take a lap around your block and maybe just notice 3 colors you love. And do it with no pressure to feel better afterward. That's the key. The goal isn't to fix the letdown, it's to stay with yourself in it. This is how we build nervous system trust. So, if this episode landed with you and you want more support for staying present in your real life, especially in the quiet moments that feel uncomfortable, I would love you to join my coaching community. Right now, we're a group of 25 women strong, and we're setting priorities that actually feel human and doable. And then we're checking in on our thoughts and our feelings and our actions without judgment. And then, of course, we are celebrating our tiny wins just as loudly as we are celebrating big ones. It is not a performative community. It is not hustle culture pretending to be empowerment. It is honest daily coaching with me and a community of smart, warm, growth minded women who are doing this work together. So, if you're feeling a little drained and unmotivated to keep doing this work alone and you want some real time help working through how to rest, I would love to hold space for you there. You can join anytime, and the link is always in the show notes. So let's end with a quick recap. If you have been experiencing the letdown effect, You're not doing it wrong. You are just landing. The letdown effect is real and it's part of being human. It's how your nervous system recovers. It's what happens when your body gets the message that it's finally safe to come down, and that down might feel weird before it feels good. Maybe nothing at all has gone wrong. Maybe the crash, the blankness, the flog isn't a flaw in the system, but a feature in your healing. You are allowed to feel weird in the quiet, and you're allowed to take your time coming back to yourself. And a reminder for your action step: what is one small thing your body is asking for today? And what would it take to give it to yourself without any guilt? Thanks for listening to the Choose Better Thoughts podcast. If this episode gave you a new perspective, please pass it on to a friend or leave a quick review. It helps so much. And if you're ready to go deeper, this is exactly the kind of work we do inside my coaching program. I offer weekly live coaching, access to my full self-coaching course, and daily motivation in an intimate community. You can learn more at choosebetterthoughts.com. Until next time, remember, you are already enough, and change gets to feel good. You've got this.